All right. So welcome. Sue's not there, eh?
No, Sue's over in out for the day.
Okay, so welcome Katie and John to this power half hour. I'm going to share my screen, so let's just have a quick look at today's quote and have a quick chat about that. Did you get my email, by the way?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I think we've got the technical difficulties sorted out. So pathway to salvation is as narrow and difficult to walk as a razor's edge. It's from a movie called The Razor's Edge with Bill Murray, which I thought is an interesting it's an interesting quote, an interesting idea. So let's have a quick chat about it. Any thoughts on that?
That's an interesting one. Yeah.
Katie, any insights or thoughts?
I thought about Joel Goldsmith. Joel Goldsmith. He was in Christian mystic. Christian Science. Yeah, influenced by Christian Science. And I think after him, one of his followers, or was it actually him? I think the path is called the infinite. I don't know how to say it. I think they also used the idea that it's like walking on a razor's edge because it's because of the non-duality. Like it's so it's like it's just this one way of seeing life, and the truth didn't change. And if you try to change it, then you're not anymore on the razor's edge. So fundamental.
It's a good analogy, because we're living in a sea of duality. You know, there's duality is seemingly the reality now. We've made that seemingly real, an illusion. It's been projected out. It's been believed in. The world operates according to it. So to find salvation in the world is like you've got to stay on that very narrow path. I mean, I think Jesus said at some point in the Bible, he said, you know, it's like you need to the rich man or something will not find the kingdom of heaven. The man who will find the kingdom of heaven is the one who can walk through the narrow gate or the narrow way or something. I'll see if I can find it. Actually, it's just come to mind. Jesus quote on narrow way or something.
And then there's also another analogy with the needle.
Yeah, to the eye of the needle. Yeah. So because straight is the gate. So this was the passage. Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Okay, so it's saying the same thing, really, right? There's a gateway to heaven. Narrow is the way, right? So that's the same idea as the razor's edge. In other words, you really need to focus your attention. That's what it's about. Focused attention and concentration, because that leads to life. And there will be few that find it, because most people's minds are not disciplined enough. They're very scattered. They're all over the place. Your mind's wandering all over the place, and there's no mental discipline. And he says, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So that's quite a nice Bible passage that supports this idea of the razor's edge, which, you know, Jesus was saying, because it takes a mental and emotional discipline to do this. And so if you think about, say, the course's teaching and training, it's a very specific teaching. He's not saying, well, anything goes here. He's saying right, these are the thoughts. This is the way that you need to perceive the world. And if it's a very narrow band, like don't wander off into unforgiveness and desire or fear or grievances, or you're making all these things real, which is very easy to let your mind do. Stay on track, stay in this one narrow band that he calls forgiveness or letting go, where whatever's coming, you're just letting it go, you're letting it go. So there's this, and that's the pathway. So whatever the temptations are and the trials, you let them go, and you focus on the single road, and you see the light at the end, which is your ultimate salvation, and that guides you. And then you can interpret this quote in a number of ways. So the razor's edge could be just the present moment, right? The present moment is the razor's edge, if you think about it, because you've got past and you've got future, and your mind can go wandering off into those a lot. I mean, John, you were saying a while ago that you become aware of how much your mind is in the past and in the future. And then when you become aware, it's like, oh, okay, you snap into like some present moment awareness that, okay, actually, I need to bring myself back to the present. So in the same way, bringing yourself back into that present moment, into that channel, is really what it's about. So not the past, not the future. Those are, if you look at this guy on the highway, those are that's the abyss. That's destruction. You go into either one of those, and you dwell in those, and that represents death, because past and future, you're on the timeline, and on the timeline in time, you're going to die. So you need to let go of those. You need to let go of desire and fear. There's another pair of dualities, of dualistic thoughts and emotions. And the razor's edge between them is just being in the present moment as you are, the equanimous state of I am that I am, I'm okay as I am, and I don't need to desire anything, because that moves your mind away from the razor's edge. And I don't need to fear anything. That also moves your mind away from the razor's edge. Of just being in the present and being totally okay as you are. As I am now, I'm okay. I don't need anything. I don't desire anything. I don't fear anything. None of those movements that really afflict most people can affect you. So, as I said, you can see quite a lot into this quote. You can interpret it in a number of ways. And just use it as a reminder. Say, okay, yeah, I need to stay on this track. You've both been exposed to A Course in Miracles. It gives you a very clear teaching, a very specific way to find salvation, what he calls salvation, which is really just your enlightenment. And while you're here, that's your happiness, it's your joy, it's your peace. Everything is in that word of salvation. He's giving you a very specific way, so don't wander off. Just stay on that track, really, of forgiveness or letting go. Whatever comes in, you just dismiss it. You let it go, and that keeps you in this quite narrow band of mindset. And that's not narrow in a limiting way. That path will lead you to infinity, because through the duality, there's like this narrow pathway of light. And if you follow that light, it's going to take you to the face of Christ, which is the opening into this other dimension, which we can call heaven or nirvana, kingdom of heaven, Jesus called it, which then opens you into, infinite and eternal consciousness. But while you're here, the way seems to be narrow. It's like this little band of light. To use another analogy, if you're in a movie theater, and you turn around and you look at the light streaming from the projector, that band of light will take you back to the source. So the screen and what's going on in the screen and all the images projected out, that can get very confusing. And you don't know what's going on there. And you're dealing in duality, you're dealing in stories and perceptions, and it can get very confusing. And if you get identified with yourself as a character in the movie, then you get lost in it. So the way out is, okay, we'll turn around, start becoming the observer of the movie, and turn around and follow the light. because there's a source that if you track it back, will take you to the projector mechanism, which is the ego, that's now distorted the light of God into all these fragmented forms. And beyond that filter, beyond the projector, lies the light, lies the opening into this eternal infinite light. So again, follow that narrow track back in your mind. And that requires mind training, and it requires mental discipline. It's not just going to happen. You need to learn to be thinking in certain ways. And not every way is going to work, right? As Jesus says here, only the one way is going to work. Wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. And he said that 2,000 years ago. I think it's you could say it's really still the same. And so the lesson I chose to go with this is my salvation comes from me. All temptation is nothing more than some form of the basic temptation not to believe this idea, right? I have to discipline my thoughts, and what he's saying is it's your responsibility to discipline your thoughts, to stay in a forgiving state, to not let these temptations of guilt and fear and sin and attack and so on come into your mind. And you are responsible for thinking those thoughts and believing those ideas. So salvation must come from you. He's saying it's your responsibility. There's a power called the Holy Spirit that's going to help you, but you must listen to it. And then he says, John, do you want to read paragraph 2? And we'll go into a meditation. Or Katie.
I can read.
Okay.
The seeming cost.
Yeah.
The seeming cost of accepting today's idea is this. It means that nothing outside yourself can save you. Nothing outside yourself can give you peace. But it also means that nothing outside you can hurt you, or disturb your peace, or upset you in any way. Today's idea places you in charge of the universe, where you belong because of what you are. This is not a role that can be partially accepted, and you must surely begin to see that accepting it is salvation. Further?
Yeah. So that's, he's saying very clearly that this is up to you. It's your responsibility. Your thoughts. It's your thoughts that are going to hurt you. It's your thoughts that are going to crucify you. But it's also your thoughts that are going to save you. Nothing outside yourself can hurt you. So it's quite a responsibility, really, to think, wow, I'm actually responsible. And how I'm thinking is determining my salvation or my destruction. And most people shy away from that. Oh, no, I want someone else to be responsible. I'll give my power away to anyone and anything else. And that's why we have the systems we do, because people don't want to take responsibility. Oh, well, the doctor's responsible for my health. No, you're responsible for your health. The doctor's not responsible for your health. And only you can really sort it out. But instead, we give our power away and say, oh, no, someone else is going to fix the problem. Which is all part of the ego's illusion of really disempower. It's a disempowering illusion. Okay, so any comments or questions on that? I mean, it's quite a simple idea, but I think it was worth chatting about. Shall we go into a meditation? Okay, so making yourselves comfortable. Just sitting with your feet shoulder width apart, or standing, John, if you want to stand. Feet shoulder width apart. Cup your hands in your lap. Keep your back straight. Close your eyes. And start off by Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in. Noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Clenching the sphincter muscle, it's the muscle used to contract the flow of urine or squeeze the last drops out. Lock the energy in. Pull the energy up the spine to your heart center. You can put one hand on your heart. And just feel this warm, comforting presence in your heart. Breathe in again. Feel this energy rising up into the crown of your head. This warm thread of energy running up your spine into the crown of your head. Connecting your heart and your brain. This is the longest distance you'll ever travel, 30 centimeters between your brain and your heart. So this is about connecting the mind and the heart, making them as one. Breathe in again, to create some space, some awareness, and just scan your mind, looking within your mind. What are you thinking? Emotions, any physical sensations? Just observe all of that. Bring some awareness into your mental and emotional and physical state. And if you notice anything that's unpleasant, that's difficult, doesn't feel right, breathe into it again. Imagine you breathing light, beautiful golden or white light into that thought and feeling, and maybe it shows up physically somewhere. Emotions can lead to all kinds of physical reactions, knot in your stomach, block in your chest, clenched jaw, clenched fists, dry mouth, sweaty palms. The extreme nausea, panic attacks can come just from your thoughts and emotions. That's how powerful they are. So you're breathing in again. Let's create some space to observe all of this going on. And be willing to let it go. If it's not serving you, it's taking your mind away from peace, from happiness, from love, then it's not something you want. So you exhale, blow it all away, the breeze of your breath. And there's a quote saying salvation is as narrow and difficult to walk as a razor's edge. That means that you simply need to let go of thoughts and emotions that are not serving you, and hold your mind in a state where only the truth is believed, only the truth is held there. Pull the stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. And you just rest here in peace and stillness. For a few moments. And just appreciating the peace and the stillness, the quietness. It is always there, but too often obscured by the ego's raucous shrieks, sick imaginings, as Jesus puts it. So just come home. Salvation is here now, in the present moment. Razor's edge is the present moment. staying conscious, staying focused in the present would be riding the razor's edge to salvation, not letting your mind go into the past or the future. Desire and fear. Operate in the future. Grievances and guilt, resentment and anger come from the past. Between these extremes, you can ride the razor's edge to salvation in the present moment. Just present peace and happiness can flow through your mind, guiding you through life, through the maze of duality, the complexity of this world, the chaos. There is a way to stay in the present moment, to stay connected to your source. So find it now. Give yourself the next 10 minutes just to experience deeply this connection with your source, riding the razor's edge to salvation right now, in the now and through the now. So just breathing in and out through your nose, just observing subtle sensations of the breath flowing in and flowing out. Notice how the stomach rises and the stomach falls. Just by focusing all your attention in the present moment, focusing on the sensations of the breath, you are riding the razor's edge. And just allowing yourself to go deeper with each breath, deeper and deeper into this beautiful, peaceful, calm, relaxed state. There is no past and there is no future. No irrelevant thoughts. If you notice any distracting thoughts coming up, thoughts about the past, the future, what you've done, what you still have to do, problems in your life, etc., any of that. Just observe these briefly and then let them go. Just releasing them. The breath, to the nothingness they really are. They're just thoughts. Just illusory thoughts, false thoughts. The mind gives them all the power they have. Which is why Jesus says, my salvation comes from me. It's up to you to discipline your thoughts. All temptation is nothing more than some form of the basic temptation not to believe the idea for today, that someone or something else is responsible for your thoughts and your emotions. I'm upset because of what I saw on the news. I'm upset because of what someone did or said. Salvation seems to come from anywhere except from you. And so too does the source of guilt. So we see neither guilt nor salvation as in our own minds and nowhere else. You realize that all guilt is solely an invention of your mind. You also realize that guilt and salvation must be in the same place. Understanding this, you are saved. So say to yourself, my salvation comes from me. It cannot come from anywhere else. And now, as you keep watching your breath, just review some of the external places where you've looked for salvation in the past. In other people, in possessions, in various situations and events, and in self-concepts that you sought to make real. You wanted to be something you're not. All these illusions about ourselves. Oh, maybe I could be rich, famous, powerful, successful. Then I'd be a better self. Then I'd be happy. This is how the mind works. This is how the ego works. Or this person will make me happy. Special relationship is going to make me happy. Or when I get that new car, or that new whatever it is, new pair of shoes. Sometimes people place their faith in the most ridiculous things. Simply look at all of these illusions and recognize that salvation is not there. Breathe in, nice deep inhale breath. Recognize that salvation cannot come from any of these things. Say, my salvation comes from me and only from me. And as you exhale, have a sense of letting go of these idle wishes and futile thoughts. You will not find it in the clouds, says Jesus. Surround the light. And it is in them that you've been looking for it. It is not there. So imagine that all of these false and scattered thoughts are like cloud patterns. It's blowing through your mind. But you can go through them. So imagine you just flowing through them. It's a thick, heavy, dense cloud bank, but you're flying through it. And actually you realize the clouds have no substance. Just obscure your vision, but if you keep going, feel the clouds parting as you keep pushing through to the light. You have to go through the clouds before you can reach the light. So feel yourself rising up through the cloud bank, pushing through all the dark thoughts that obscure your vision, that keep you from salvation, and finally you break through into the light beyond. Glorious, brilliant, bright white light or golden light streaming into your mind. Beyond all these thoughts and emotions, you simply stay in the light. You are in the light. So for a couple of minutes of deep silence, just stay in the light. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just surrender to the light of true salvation, which is in your own mind. The next couple of minutes of deep silence. If any thoughts arise, seemingly pull you back into the cloud bank, obscure your vision, thoughts of the past, the future. Just let these go. As you're blowing them away with the breeze of your breath. Breathe in the light. Pure true awareness, pure formless awareness, just streaming through the blue sky of your open awareness. Source of light, and clouds have no power over that. Light is in a different order of reality. And so you exhale, blow those all away, and sink in to the light. There's nowhere where the light begins and you end, so just immerse yourself completely in the light. You are the light is you. Another minute or so of deep silence. And so very gently coming back to an awareness of the body and the breath and the senses in the world. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing the stomach rising and the chest rising. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Scan your mind, noticing any thoughts and emotions going on. Maybe you sense just more light, more openness, more peace, paired with about 17 minutes ago when we started the meditation. So just notice the state, anchor it in. So this is my true state. This is the razor's edge. Staying in this state of mind is the razor's edge that you want to maintain as often as possible. So set the intention to stay there. So it is said, so it is done. And exhale, breathe out, feel the energy just subside back down the front channel of your body, coming to rest in your lower stomach and your groin. Just sitting in the energy down your lower stomach and groin. Feel the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling and touching. Count of 2, breathing in again. Noticing any smell in your nose. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Noticing what you're hearing, surrounding environment. But noticing all these things from this very still, calm and surrendered state. So there's no attempt to name or label or interpret or judge any of it. And just allow it to be. Notice how peaceful it is when you perceive from this non-judgmental, in this non-judgmental way. This peace, this awareness that you've connected with quite deeply over the last 20 minutes or so is always there. So the razor's edge is being able to stay there even while you engaging in the world and your senses are engaged. So let's practice that with your visual sense, On the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute and look around, noticing the various objects in the room. Focus your attention on one object randomly for a few seconds. Just observe it, don't name it, judge it, label it, interpret it in any way. And notice that the underlying awareness that you've cultivated in the last 20 minutes is the same for that object as for any other. Then move your attention to something else. Look at that briefly. Notice that the underlying awareness is the same. If you don't name it or judge it or label it or interpret it, it's the sameness of perception. And so that is really what samadhi is. Samadhi means sameness of perception. To simply see everything from the perspective of oneness means that everything is the same. Everything, your awareness is the same, really, of everything. You don't split your mind into all these different thoughts and emotions and make all these distinctions based on the idea of separation. You simply have one awareness. That one awareness is the razor's edge, which you ride to salvation. That one awareness will take you back to pure formless awareness, which is your source, and will help you let go of all attachment to this world. So I hope this little discussion and the meditation has helped you in some way to do that. That brings us to the end of the session. So thank you, Katie and John, for joining us. Namaste. And I will see you again on Sunday. So Sunday afternoon. Oh no, we're going to do Sunday evening, I think. Does that work for you?
I think evening would probably be better for us, actually.
Yeah, it's better for Kim as well. So, and Katie just nodded her head. So Sunday evening, 6:30 your time, John.
Okay.
Same time, Katie, 7:30 your time. That's
okay.
8:30 SA time for anyone on the recording. So I'll see you then. Stay on the razor's edge in the meantime.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for joining. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Jono.
Okay.
Thank you, Katie.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye for now.